Thank you again to our sponsors, Georgia Power. We are back and we're talking about sex trafficking in Atlanta. And I have with me, is it Nicola? Nicola, and you are with
Girls Who Brunch Tour.
And I have
Detective Benton with DeKalb County Police Department.
Alrighty. So thank you for just starting a really great conversation about this topic. Before we went to break, I proposed a question about survival sex, and we talked about how young boys, or just boys or men in general, are underreported. So I want to dig a little bit deeper in the idea of the children who are running away or caught up in this black market are okay with doing this because they need a place to live, they need a home, or they need a roof, they need food. So can you give me a little bit more insight on that?
So I don't know that they're okay with it. I think it's a
wrong word.
Yeah, it's a condition that they've been taught. This is what's required if you're going to benefit from the things I'm going to give you: food, shelter, just the basic necessities of life, which are honestly very slim a lot of times, even when they are doing what they're supposed to do. So it's not that they're okay with it, but it becomes what's required.
What about in your situation?
Well, we don't really deal with boys, but from what I've seen with the boys, I think it's that they need something, like he stated, but it's not cool to tell somebody that. Now they have to deal with the stigma. Now you're gay, you're this, you're that. So they're not going to tell anyone. But really in the black community, what I've seen is that there are a lot of boys who need help, whose mother may not have a lot, and they may need this money for football. And that's how it starts. And they have this uncle or this man that's around that's offering them money, offering them stuff. Just do this for me. And then it goes into that. So now that's a survival mechanism that they have in their head. So if they do get caught up, and now with the boys, the video games, they're coaching them through the video games. And okay, if I do this already for this, and if you're offering me that, that's a better situation than what I'm living in right now.
Okay, so in other words, I know Fortnite is a very popular game. Is that another way that these children are being approached by these, I guess, pimps or whatnot?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe any type of internet contact, whether it be social media or Fortnite or whatever it is, it's a method for a predator to locate a victim. And maybe they're not pimps necessarily, but they are definitely looking to exploit the child in one way or another.
So what advice can we give parents to protect, so that we won't scare our people who, like me, I don't have any kids, but now I'm petrified for the children in my family. But how do we protect our children? Do we say, you can't play Fortnite, you must be with me at all times, or how do we protect them? Or what advice can you give parents?
My advice would be to be as I guess strict is the only word I can think of, as you feel comfortable being. In my family, our children aren't allowed to access the internet anywhere that's not a common area in the house. My children don't play online games for that very reason. So maybe some think I'm overboard, but with what we deal with every day in my profession, I'm willing to be overboard to protect my children.
How old are your babies?
My daughter's about to be 15 and my son's 12.
Yep. And do they give you grief about that?
All the time.
But you're like, if you only knew.
That's
if you
right.
only knew. What about in your situation?
Well, in my situation, it's kind of similar, but I have a different reaction because I was raped multiple times before I turned 16. And it was by men that were really close to my family and even my choir director at church. So with that being said, with my girls, they're 25 and 20 now. They weren't allowed to go to anyone's home. They weren't allowed, all their friends had to come to my house. But it was really that open communication. There's nothing that you can tell me that I'm going to be mad about, that, I may get upset if you lie to me. So just tell me there's nothing bad. I don't care who, what, anything. And that's what my approach, and it's been successful thus far.
So we've talked about the parents who are involved in the children's lives. How do we, I don't want to say fix, but how can we help and heal the children who have been a part of this lifestyle and they may have gotten out of it? Like, what do we do to help them or those that may still be in that lifestyle or in that world?
I think they need a lot of therapy. A lot of times what I've seen, that the girls, they come and the way they dress, everything is what they know right now. So you have to break them, but they broke them in to get them on the streets. You have to break them in and bring them back into your house. And a lot of times parents think, oh, my daughter's home. You have to think she's been acclimated to living on the street. She's been acclimated to living like this. So there need to be a lot of patience, prayer, and therapy, I believe. And there's a lot of assistance out there. We just need to go out and utilize it.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. You know, victims of sex trafficking, a large portion of the time they suffer from PTSD, from post-traumatic stress disorder. And typically we think of that being associated with veterans coming back from combat. And what's unique about trafficking victims is that it's not one event that caused that problem, it's compounded. You know, these children are being forced to perform these acts multiple times a day, and it's just compounded and compounded and compounded. So to say they need therapy is absolutely correct. They need professional help, and they need people like you just to demonstrate love to them and show them that you do care, and just be an open ear for them to talk to.
Now, do they eventually get out of that lifestyle on their own, or how are they ever rescued from this way of being?
Some on their own, but a lot of times they're found. And then the police may refer them to this association, this group, this organization if they don't have somewhere for them to go. So, but a lot of times they're found. And then you have to like mentally let them know it's okay to be here. You know, we're safe. We're going to protect you, because the pimp have them thinking that he's all they have. No one loves you like I do. Your mom, see, she never even found you. She didn't come looking for you. You have to break them back in. And the girls, there's so many organizations that like have to kind of try to force them there, but it's so hard to keep them there. They're usually like repeat victims.
Yeah, I've spoken with people who ran organizations that helped these children kind of overcome the issue, and one of them told me just the other day that it's common for them to see the same girl come back to their location. I say girls, the same victim back to their location 5 to 6 times before that person ever realizes that you know, this pimp really is looking to hurt me, not to do me good. So you know, they'll come to the location, and then they're back out on the streets. And it takes a cycle, 5 to 6 times, they say, before the victim even begins to see that this person's trying to harm them.
Now, when you say they're found, I guess you may know more about this. Where are they usually found?
So, in the police department, we have a lot of different tools that we use to try to find these victims. We use social media, we use different internet resources. We have a lot of different resources that we use to find these victims. And you know, we'll find them all over the place. We'll find them in hotels. We'll find them sometimes at you know, a private residence. But we'll find them all over the place.
And when they are found, what happens to the pimp?
What happens to the pimp? We do our very best to put charges on the pimp so that he can't hurt these victims anymore.
And what happens to, I guess the term is the John, what happens to them?
So in Georgia law allows us to charge a John with trafficking of a person in the same way we would charge a pimp. If a person, like I said, the definition is if a person exchanges a sexual act in exchange for anything of value, that equals trafficking. So when a John comes and exchanges something of value with a victim of trafficking, we charge them with trafficking. And we take proactive measures to locate these people who are seeking out juveniles to have sex with them.
And when you say Georgia allows, are other areas, they don't have the same laws, or was it not always that way?
So I can't speak for other state laws. it wasn't too many years ago that Georgia actually changed that law that allowed us to charge the John with trafficking. So that's been a change in the not too distant past. But I can't speak for other states on their laws.
And when was that change? So before that change, what would happen to the John?
We would charge them with some other charge, pandering or some other.
But it wasn't as severe as it is now. Because if you think about it, or maybe we can discuss this, how could we put an end to this? So from the conversations that we've had in producing the show, one of the things that we see is if you stop the money portion of it, so if that's the main disconnect, then maybe we could put an end to that. Do you think that could be one of the ways that we could put a stop to this?
Yes, I believe it's a multi-tier approach. We go after the pimps and the traffickers, and we also aggressively go after the consumer as well. You know, it's human trafficking, domestic minor sex trafficking is a huge it's a huge economy. I believe one year Georgia had $290 million or something like that, and you know, in this human trafficking economy. So it's a business. So if you want to put a business out of business, you take away the consumer. So we proactively seek out the traffickers and the people who are seeking to be consumers of this trade.
Well, I don't know if we've given this enough time to at least put an end to it, but at least we started the conversation. Before we end, let the folks at home know how they can be in contact with you.
Well, you can contact us at Girls Who Brunch Tour, spelled all the way out, on all social media outlets, and that is our website, Girls Who Brunch Tour.
Okay. And could we contact you?
Absolutely, yes. You could contact the DeKalb County Police Department at the non-emergency number. You can find that number online, and you can contact the police department through that number.
And could we contact you if there's any tips or?
Absolutely. If you'll locate the non-emergency number and call that number, and they will connect you with a detective in our unit.
And if we found someone that needs to be loved, then we can also contact you.
Yes.
As well. All right. Well, I think I'm happy to have met you. I hate it was on these circumstances, but I think we had a healthy discussion today about something that's very, very prevalent and unfortunate in our city and our hometown. All right. My name's Kat Witherspoon, the host of In Contact. It has been a pleasure to bring to you all this discussion. Please follow us online and continue the discussion at home. And as always, be informed, be in contact, but most of all, be you. Thank you for watching.
Be informed. We gotta know what's going on in our community. So together we can make a change, you and me. Yeah, be in contact.
Thanks to Georgia Power, we cut our energy costs by 5,400 rolls of gauze.
By 570 new library books.
Over 7,000 eggs.
Spend less on energy and put more money back into your business. Visit georgiapower.com/commercial savings.